So there you go. Enjoy. I mean, wouldn't you be thrilled to do that? I mean, I was thinking, some people, they stay in their jobs, they give them, a 2 or 3 week notice or whatever. And no, not a chance. I'm not coming back. I'm a gazillionaire, I'm good. But she seemed very relaxed, at the time. I guess it set in a day later. But man, life changes. Big time when it's you don't have to worry about another dollar for the rest of your life. It's what to do with it, and hopefully she does some good things with it and helps some people with it, helps herself. I'm sure she'll pay a few bills off with that, which will be a nice thing. I don't know if she was in debt or not, but I'm willing to bet you she probably did have a few bucks put away for a rainy day. She had a pretty decent job, so I don't think she was broke, but certainly with a lot of folks, retirement did not look too good. And I think she alluded to that, actually. Yeah, that she was hoping, because she didn't think that she was going to retire at an age that a lot of us would like to do that. And now she'll, of course, be able to enjoy an earlier retirement because she just announced it, retired at 53 years old. So there you go. By the way, covet your prayers. It's kind of, we knew this was going to happen. My mother-in-law has been in a nursing home. She's had a series of strokes, but has had COPD, and she's had a couple heart attacks, and she had a major one about, a year ago, and her heart was just 80-90% shot. And so they wrote her off, 2 months after she got out of the hospital. Well, she's been alive, and she's been able to see both her granddaughters come into the world, Melina and Alicia, and thank God for that. But she's just been dispatched to the hospital for the nursing home, and she's been breathing erratically and been extremely weak. And it just doesn't look good. And, of course, my wife's a wreck, just said that she's heading up to the hospital, and I told her I'd meet her up there. And she said, well, don't forget Kaylee. You're going to have to pick her up because she's not leaving the hospital. But it's just, you never want to say goodbye to your loved one, especially your mother. And I'll have to say my mother-in-law has been a wonderful lady. She's been there for my granddaughters, just loving them from her hospital bed, but my own daughter, Kaylee, and then the two girls that came into my life 15 years ago, Kimberly and Melissa. I knew them when they were 4 and 5. Loved to take care of them and fed them and played with them and just cared for them like I've never seen a grandparent do, but was there when I needed her, always had a gift in hand for any holiday for me, and just went out of her way to make things extra special. And this will be very difficult for me to definitely say goodbye to her. Family's so important. When it's all said and done, it's not the things that you do or the things that you acquire. It's the time that you get to spend with people that give a crap about you and get you. And she's just a neat lady. And we're hoping that maybe they can stabilize her, but again, it just doesn't look good at this time. So we just pray for peace for her and for my wife right now, and for my family at this time. So I'd really appreciate that. And I know a lot of you are faith-believing and believing folks out there. Pro Football Hall of Famer and Cleveland Browns legend Jim Brown panned current football players who choose to protest during the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner, saying, I don't describe my flag and this doesn't describe my Star-Spangled Banner, not mine. I don't desecrate my flag and my national anthem. Brown, who fought for social causes throughout his career, told the postgame.com he empathizes with jobless quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who began the trend of kneeling during the anthem last year when he played for the San Francisco 49ers. He says, but Brown said Kaepernick and other players who demonstrate, such a dozen Cleveland players who knelt Monday, are going about their crusade the wrong way. I'm going to give you the real deal. I'm an American, Brown said. I don't desecrate my flag and my national anthem. I'm not going to do anything against the flag and national anthem. I'm going to work within those situations. Well, let's just hear from Brown himself, because we certainly have that audio set to go. So let's listen to. Are we ready for him? Okay, here we go.
Colin has to make up his mind whether he's truly an activist or whether he's a football player. Football is commercial. You have owners, you have fans, and you want to honor that if you're making that kind of money. I'm going to give you the real deal. I'm an American. I don't desecrate my flag and my national anthem. I'm not going to do anything against the flag and the national anthem. I'm going to work within those situations. But this is my country, and I'll work out the problems, but I'll do it in an intelligent manner.
All right, some good advice. Now, Brown also acknowledged players should try to honor the wishes of the team owners who are paying them millions of dollars. And the fans in the stands who actually afford those owners to be able to pay them that money, because if fans are not going to the games, which a lot of them have decided not to do that, they need to honor them. So good for Jim Brown criticizing Kaepernick's style protest. He says, I don't desecrate my flag. Well, amen to that. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Nancy Pelosi, she just is the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for really giving us something to talk about today. Because in light of all of the Confederate statues that are being covered or being removed or being, spray painted, and mayor of New York wanting to take Columbus down and all this other stuff, well, at least we know now your family heritage, yours. You see, Minority Leader, she's Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, has ramped up her calls to remove reprehensible Confederate statues. This is what she calls them, reprehensible Confederate statues from the halls of Congress. But left unsaid is her public denunciations that her father helped dedicate such a statue decades ago while mayor of Baltimore. It was May 2nd, 1948, when, according to Baltimore's Sun article from that day, 3,000 looked on as Governor William Preston Lane Jr., Pelosi's father, the late Thomas D. Alessandro Jr., spoke at the dedication of the monument to honor Confederate General Robert E. Lee and Thomas Stonewall Jackson. The article said Lane delivered a speech, and Mayor D. Alessandro accepted the memorial. So, folks, there's the photograph. You can't see it. It's a photograph that was taken then. I don't think it was the AP. But it shows Thomas D. Alessandro of Maryland is seen at the left and the right, and then Representative Samuel West of Pennsylvania, with President Trump cautioning that the drive to purge Confederate statues could represent a slippery slope. The White House has flagged Pelosi's family history as she fuels the statue opposition. Very rich folks. Kellyanne Conway, Counselor Kellyanne Conway to the president, tweeted an earlier article, Read Alert Politics, noting Pelosi's father's role. A lot of Democrats' roles in slavery, by the way. Last week, more than a half century after Pelosi's father honored Lee Jackson Monument, it was removed from its post along with 3 other Confederate statues in Baltimore, according to the Baltimore Sun. The removal came as numerous monuments were removed, vandalized or otherwise being debated in the wake of the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, where a counter-protester was killed. So, folks, let's take the white supremacist and what he did, and let's just eradicate all of our American history because of one bad apple that mowed down Heather. And believe me, I hurt, and I grieve, and I mourn for Heather. It was sad how she died and what happened, but taking down statues and removing our history is not honoring. These folks were not neo-Nazis. They weren't members of the KKK or consider themselves to be white supremacists. Give me a break. They didn't even know what this stuff was. Oh, but Nancy Pelosi's father, he knew what that was. But they weren't saying anything then. And, of course, mum's the word from her. Yeah, if you remind the Dems of their history, they get all upset and they won't comment. They won't say anything. Because it's truth, and the truth hurts, and they're not going to admit to it, and nobody's being outspoken about those particular things. That's why they want to hide this stuff, because they don't want you to know about their history, because they feel like people are not going to do their due diligence. They're not going to look into it to find out for themselves their dark history, their attachment to slavery, and i.e. entitlements in our country to keep people on welfare. It was the Democrats, not the Republicans. They got a lot of our inner city folks addicted to food stamps and entitlements so they could never get ahead, never get educated, never get out of the slum. It was Democrats that made this stuff happen. Thank you very much. And did not want to abolish slavery. It was the party of Lincoln that pushed for it. Just remember that. But you don't have people on the left talking about this, sharing with that, tweeting about that. No, they won't do it. They would rather just take a happening, a sad happening in Charlottesville, and blow it out of proportion, exaggerate it, exacerbate it. Why not? There's an ample opportunity because there is a movement, folks, gearing up not only to continue doing this foolishness, but to overthrow the government of Trump to get him ejected out. That's right. You've heard right. They're setting a date to where they're going to go to Washington to try to overthrow, topple the government, the United States of America. I'm not even kidding. All out efforts, all hands on deck from the left to do just that. This is an outward war, folks. And they're putting their money where their mouth is. Oh, yes, it's happening, folks. Breitbart News, thank God that Bannon is back on the post there. I think they'll do a good job revealing a lot of the crap that the left is doing. We're going to be monitoring that source to see what he says, but I think he knows that there is a storm coming. And, folks, I'm not talking about Harvey in Texas. I'm talking about a storm like we've never seen before. And I'm saying get ready. Get ready. Get ready. The left is at a point where they are so bitter, so angry that Donald Trump is the president of the United States that they will resort to anarchy. They will resort to anything. They're talking about some white supremacists. They're talking about one person that's died, folks. What they're talking about is many people dying. Anarchy, overthrowing the government. Are you kidding me? Way worse than anything that's ever happened in Charlottesville. Folks, the left is way worse. Way worse. And I would have to label them a hate group. Big time. And they need to be monitored in the worst way and uncovered. And thank God that Donald Trump calls them out, and he will continue calling out the left for what they're trying to do. we'll keep on monitoring that situation. But I have some good listeners that keep me informed